Did they ask money? Did we say for the annual association?
Oh, yeah, sorry about that.
New stuff.
Every day's a person. She moved the fancy word. So it's kind of like the SOS or not one person. One person like you can.
No, I never had any interest in it. I was licensed.
And then, one of us can put it in.
Yeah. Sure. You know that,
That says 600 a month.
and you can import anything. Got a lot of accounts, it's nice. You just move it right in there, you have to tell them on Oh, yeah. Let me answer, he's eating.
Oh, yeah. It's 5:30.
Great. Been so long. We didn't get next to each other for 2.5 hours.
Buster?
Time? We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We'll go ahead and do our pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Dan.
Here.
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 Here. Was that the perfect time? Okay.
All right. Has everybody read the minutes?
Yes,
Is everybody good with the minutes?
yes.
Think so?
Motion to accept minutes?
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
I guess the president's report, I really don't have a lot to say tonight. Go on with the meeting. And we'll go along to citizen participation. Anything on that?
Did you, we skipped the workshop minutes?
Oh, we got it, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we need to okay them too, don't we? Everybody read the workshop minutes?
Yes.
Yeah, make a motion
Everybody
to,
good with them?
yep,
Second it.
make a motion.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So be it. Okay. And I don't have much to say. And citizen participation,
Yes. I'm just waiting for acceptance.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Catherine,
Yeah.
because of your conflict of interest with your husband's lawsuit, I feel that you shouldn't be sitting on this board. And I'm flatly just asking for your resignation.
Well, I understand, I mentioned before the conflict of interest. I've been very upfront about it. I also spoke with the Board of Ethics regarding my position on this board and whether or not I could run ethically, and I was told yes. I was instructed not to discuss the lawsuit nor to participate in any conversations or voting regarding that, and I have done that, and I will continue to do that.
It's opinions everyone has, and of course, it's just my opinion, mine alone, that you shouldn't sit on this board. But, thank you.
I did, and again, I did, it wasn't just an opinion. I did consult with the Oregon Board of Ethics,
Doesn't make it right.
in your opinion.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll go on to staff presentations then.
Okay, for October, we had 16 fires, 60 medicals, 6 vehicle accidents, no water rescues, 9 lift assists, and 1 other assist for a total of 92 calls. So a little slower month, we're not complaining. November, we had 12 fires so far, 28 EMS calls so far, 2 car crashes, 3 lift assists, and 3 other assists, for a total of 48 so far this month. Bringing our total for the year to 1101 this year. So, still on track. Looks like it's getting safer and safer to say. Our call volume's going to increase from last year even. Not by a lot. Last year was a big increase, but it's still going to be going up. So, and we'll move on to I'll talk about the academy for the volunteer report, so move on to the building maintenance.
Down at Five Rivers, I pressure washed as high up as I could on the front when I got called away, but I got all the doors all pressure washed and released so that they're all pretty white again. I also replaced all the bottom door seals. Been working with Greg with ProPest, and he actually went through and put on the corners, and we haven't cleaned up a lot of well, we cleaned up a lot of it, but left some strategic rat poop laying around. I was trying to think of a good word. Anyway, we've left it purposely under his direction, left it around because it makes the mice feel at home. So they continue, if they do come in, they go to those one spots, and that's where he has traps set up. So we've left them kind of out, so if you do go in there, you'll still see some droppings, you know, in certain places. It's because we got things. And if I remember right, I don't know, it wasn't a mouse that I seen in one of the traps the other day. It was like a squirrel or something.
Chipmunk.
Was it a little chipmunk? Okay, it had made it in the building. Unfortunate for the chipmunk, but it had made it in the building, so.
Collateral damage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it'll get in there too.
But we've trimmed, of course, a lot of the overhang branches he's, you know, suggested I do.
Right.
We've gone through and he's put stainless mesh on all the corners. We found a lot of the corners actually loose, so that the screws weren't even holding anything down. So he's went through and did all those. So it's getting under control. And I also put the generator and the heating system back online for the season, because to save money, I turned it all off, because there's no sense in just burning through propane. But now the generator comes on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for an hour, or if the temperature drops below 50 degrees, then the generator will kick on, and then another thermostat kicks on to turn the heats on. So at Tidewater, Station 73, the trim work is up. Been kind of just slowly plugging away. There's not a lot to say. You can kind of see it driving by. I got all of this side done. Me and Bob finished that today. Now I'm going to work down the front and get that one tied up. The little lift is going to go away after the front's all done. I just can't reach with the ladders I have. I mean, I could pull ladders off the fire truck, but I'd rather leave them on it. But I can't get all the way up in the gable on that front end without that lift. So it goes away next week. So
Makes total sense.
We've been talking with McKinsey to do some seismic hardening and possibly go for, it's just a kind of a prelim conversation, but go for some grant funding possibly out there. So January, I know I gave that timeline, but if we do go out for a seismic grant, I want to put kind of some brakes on until, if we do get the grant, there's no sense in putting a whole lot of money into drywall, insulation, and everything else if they're just going to tear it all out to do any seismic work. So that'll kind of depend. So I'll update timelines as far as when it gets done, you know, depending on that outcome of McKinsey and so on and so forth. So, but I also took it back, put the station officially back in service a couple weeks ago when the power came back on. So we've had it in our weekly meeting minutes or meeting notes that the station's closed and nobody can go out there unless they're with me or Bob. And but I don't know if he's here.
He's not.
No.
Oh, he had a family emergency. Anyhow, me or Bob were out there. So, but I went ahead and, since we have power out there now, I went ahead and said, yeah, we can go ahead and start responding out of it. It's got 2 trucks, tender, and a fire engine. So that's a good increase there. So we have that where it's open to if the public wanted to come in, they can.
What do we got for outside lighting around it to light it up to?
So when the electrician gets done, you've probably seen the light blocks. They're up on the two fronts. There'll be two front lights, and the two side lights will be motion lights. The two front lights will come on at night. They're a little, not real bright. They're just kind of an accent light. That'll come on when the photo cells come on. And then the electrician up in the very eaves, I had him wire up, and I donated a couple 100-watt, which is the equivalent of about 1,000-watt floodlight, LED floodlights, to mount up in the eaves and the very gables, so that if we need to, we can flip them on, and it'll light that whole parking lot up. So, like daylight. So.
Where are we at with security? I know we've spoken a few times about putting cameras out there or such. Have we started doing anything? I mean, I know we don't have internet out there, but there are some of those cameras that have the SD cards that you can go back and review them.
Yeah, so we have a camera up already, and it's a SD card camera, so it's capturing anything out there right now. As far as the wired in system that's gonna work off of the internet and we'll be able to check the security system from here, that won't come until we get the internet up and running and everything. So right now we have cameras up, but not the wired in cameras.
No, as long as we at least have that with the SD cards, I think that's great, thank you.
Yep. Yep.
Well, and then the internet, we actually have it. It's going to be through Starlink, satellite internet.
Oh, okay.
I've already got the dish here. Now that I have power, I'm going to get it installed. We reapplied for the grant through SDIS for security stuff. So as soon as we hear back from that, I'll order the whole system. And then that can all, since by that time the trim will all be done, the exterior will be done, so I can put up all the internet-based cameras then. So.
That's good news, thank you.
All right, sounds good.
And then there hasn't been a whole lot down here as far as the apparatus at the main station. There's obviously always little stuff I'm doing around and around and so on. I had, as far as district-wide, I put in the deadline of the 30th for everyone to get their own desktops, come to me and get their own desktops created and their folder built on the server so that everything will be tied in-house, not floating around on the internet. And so on the 30th, everything kind of will change down here. You'll even see the Wi-Fi change because I'll be readjusting how the network works and who connects to what and how. And so that we also have a VPN in place now so that the MDTs, because we keep like burn permit logs, for example, if we're going on a burn complaint, we can look up on the MDT, and that's all going to be housed right here. So that'll happen through the VPN. They'll be able to pull that up right in the trucks. And so, but they have a burn permit and so on and so forth. So, but that was put into place since you guys approved that policy last month. So, other than that, I'm done rattling.
I have another question for you, if you don't mind. So regarding the new internet and the VPN and all of that, as we know, there's spam. You're always, possible for spam or hackers or anything like that. Do we have a filtering system for that in our internet server?
I can put in, it does have a spam filter that I don't have put in place. You'd have to spend some time on it and build a whitelist. It's not, like there's some more advanced ones out there. I have one on my personal account that as you approve and deny emails, it just kind of tracks that and tracks that email address. But if I were to turn this one on, it's pretty black and white. You give it a list of specific addresses you want it to have, say okay from, and the rest of them it considers as spam.
So it's kind of basic.
Yeah, it's a real basic one that's on there. I can look into seeing if the people that host our email, which is HostGator, I can see if they can upgrade or update, or if they have some kind of updated spam type software they can put on the server for us. So
just so other people know, we got some emails that were suspicious and looked like it was spam or hacking, and so that's why I was asking the question. And that will just follow up this other one. I know in my business, and I'm not sure, you guys probably already do this, do you have like a in-service about how to avoid phishing or spam or hackers and for everyone to do?
Yeah, we're trying to work through the SDAO training on it, and because we get credit towards our insurance premiums for doing that training. And so that was some of the things that we identified. I'm going through the evaluation right now for our annual evaluation, and those are some of the classes we need to do, and that'll help us with it. I get probably 3, maybe 4 a week where I'm being offered money from Egypt. I'll get pretty often, I'll get emails that look like it's from one of the other chiefs of the county, but because I know all their email addresses, when I look at their email address, it's a funky, kind of weird email address, so I know it's not them. And, you know, it's very typical things, hey, can you help me with this? Just trying to get us to respond back. And so the first thing I always do is I check the email address, especially when it's asking for something weird, is like, yeah, I'm not gonna respond to that.
Right, obviously the one that I saw, what I told you about was, you know, seems really sketchy to me. Is
Yeah.
that training link something that we could be privy to as well?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
in that-
it's in that
It's in
same
that link
list.
that I sent you with all
Okay.
the resource stuff.
Gotcha,
I
thank
just,
you.
because I just did the one on cybersecurity,
Mm-hmm,
and they've got another one on there too.
okay, great, appreciate that.
And we get, like I said, we get credits for doing that training. It gives us discounts on our insurance premiums.
Okay,
So, and we can get up to 10% depending on how many we do.
awesome,
So-
that's good to know, thank you.
Yeah, and there's also, like the OFDDA board conference, online conference stuff that you guys can do as well.
Okay.
So that helps too.
Thank you. And Wendy, thank you for sending me the resources. I did finish the other training, so I appreciate that.
Okay,
Yeah, sorry.
the dreaded policy.
So
So first I'll start with the website. We had 13,716 page views in October. I've done some updates on the website. One of them you'll notice is on the home page is a link to Central Coast's YouTube channel, so that people can find it easily, so that they can watch any of the live streams or any videos that we put on it or anything like that. I also added a ADA disclosure on it. It was recommended by Streamline and SDAO to have that on there. So we did, got that on there as well. So as far as you had asked me about the password reset, and then we figured out that it wasn't working, so Eric is looking into why it's airing out on there. But when you go to our website or you go into your district email, there is a spot that says reset password, and that is the only way you can change your password. I can change it for you, but it's a temporary password, and it'll ask you to change it as soon as you log in after that. So if you ever need that done, just let me
So
know.
do we have to log in first and then hit the reset password?
No, it's on the login screen.
Right, I see
So
that.
I put a kind of a screenshot
Okay,
in here for you that shows where that is. So it's on the login screen, and right below it, it's really small. It says reset
I see,
password.
it. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I tried doing that today before, you know, I went on the page and I
Yeah.
had my email on it for Central Coast. And then I hit, you know, reset the password and it just took me to an error screen. And I tried it like 3 different times.
And that's
And then, yeah, you emailed me and I tried
Right.
it, and so
And I tried it.
I instantly did it and said, hey, go look.
Yeah, 'cause I did it before and I couldn't get nowhere with it.
yeah, it's called a 500 error. It's an internal configuration error,
Oh,
which is,
okay.
that's HostGator's thing, so I just need to get a hold of HostGator and say, hey, how come we need to be able to do this? So,
Okay.
So once you have that, you let us know so that we
Yes.
can think.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because if I reset the password for you, it's a temporary.
Right.
And it'll make you change it anyway, so.
Then I wonder if I'd run up in the same problem.
Exactly, exactly. So policies, so, they're in the front of your, I put them in the front of your book. So we still have the 9.1 through 9.5, and so with that, you'll see a template that was sent to us by SDAO for the drug and alcohol use, and then the one that Catherine provided from Samaritan that we can kind of use to see what we want for that one section on that one.
So all I need to know, because I saw your email just a little bit ago, Catherine. All I need to know is do you guys want me to submit the one that we got from SDAO, or do you want me to send the one that Catherine provided from Samaritan? We need to send that to SDAO so that they can say, yes, you can use this. So that way if a conflict comes up with it later, they'll defend us on it.
Right.
So I don't really have a say in whichever one that I think is better than the other. I'm just looking for straight direction from you guys.
Right.
Say, send this one off to SDAO, get the approval, and then put it in the policy, or use the SDAO one that they provide us, put it in the policy. Catherine already told me she doesn't like it. So it's, you know, it has to come from the board, so.
Right.
So I would like to take a caveat back on that. When I read my meeting minutes today on my computer, I did not see this particular draft.
Okay.
The only one I saw was this, and I
Oh.
saw very little to no change in
Yeah.
that one. So that's where I was taking,
Yeah, there shouldn't be any change
We
in that
haven't
one
changed
yet.
that.
right, exactly. I was like, wait, I don't see anything different. So that's what I was saying. I did not see this anywhere in
Okay.
my, in my minutes. So unfortunately, I haven't been able to review it in order to comment one way or another between the two.
And that's fine. You know, we can still table it till next meeting if we need to. I got that from Monica. I think she sent it to you as well.
No, I did not get it.
No? Okay. I got that one from Monica, so I wanted to put that in there.
Mhm.
And she's with the HR answers for SDAO, so, that one's already pre-approved. We could literally take that one and put it in the policy if you guys approved of it. So,
Perhaps we could take a moment somewhere in here and do a quick review and come back to that. Would
Sure.
that be okay?
sure.
Okay.
And then the other one is the 10.1 to 12.18. We already made a few revisions as far as spelling and a couple word changes on some of it. And so it's just more if you guys had any other changes. And this is the last one, Kevin.
Yes, the longest one. Oh, as usual, I have questions. So on page 118, just for my own knowledge, it says safety committee members, Central Oregon Coast Fire, blah, blah, blah. Who is actually on that safety committee? How many people do we have?
So Charlie is our safety committee
Officer?
president, officer, yeah. I do all the minutes, and then it's just all the volunteers, anybody who wants to show up is on it.
Okay, great. And then, because it also had said there will always be at least one staff member on a safety committee, and I was hopeful that we could have more than just one.
Usually, well, not always staff, but usually there's a few people for the meetings, or at least that's what I've seen.
The on-duty crew's usually at it, who's
Yeah,
ever
so
on
there's
duty.
usually a few people there.
Okay,
I sit in on it too.
So, yeah,
great.
I guess technically I'm the one staff member because I'm always at it taking minutes.
Yeah.
We usually have quite a few people because we do it, it's scheduled to, we do it the last Monday of every month, right before the Volunteer Association meeting. So generally, everybody's kind of here, and they always come in a little early for that one.
So then, does that mean that you're the safety coordinator?
That's Charlie.
Charlie, okay. And on page 121, currently, do we have an MSDS book at each one of the stations?
We have one that's gonna go up in Tidewater, we have one here, and we have to order one for Five Rivers. But that's gonna be kind of an empty book, because we don't store any chemicals up there. The last time when we cleaned it out, I pulled all the old chemicals that were sitting on that shelf. I think there might still be a bottle of windshield fluid,
Yeah,
and,
I think there's coolant in a bottle of coolant and a
So
bottle
there'll
of
be-
windshield.
Yeah, I think one of the points is just that
Two
the book is
pages.
there, and as things happen, you put stuff in, right?
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So it's just one of those technicalities.
It's a OSHA requirement.
That's what I meant by technicality. Question. Just, I think it's just a typo again on page 124, policy 12.1. It said, on the second line, provide emergency medical care and operate the district ambulance. We don't have a
Yeah.
district ambulance.
Yeah, some of this I had to take out stuff that pertains to the ambulance, so we can take that out.
I'm a little stickler on timelines sometimes. On page 130, under policy 12.2, in the middle there, it says the district will monitor the driving records of members who operate district-owned vehicles and encourage and enforce safe driving practices. Do we have a minimum standard for that?
We have the DMV notification system, so if any of our members get tickets or get in an accident, DMV sends us a letter to let us know. We prefer that they tell us before the letter gets here, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I just didn't know if maybe there was like you guys just reviewed them quarterly or something like that. Under the EMS probation requirements on page 134, it says all the things that they have to be signed off of. I'm assuming that there's another protocol sheet somewhere on what that entails that they've actually completed under each one of those steps.
Yeah, we have the protocol book from Dr. Wisham that we
Perfect.
follow.
Oh, and there was somewhere in here it said about Dr. Oxenholt, but a
That's been
typo.
changed.
Perfect.
Yep, that should be switched to Wisham.
Yeah, that's already been changed.
And then regarding controlled substances on page 138, do we actually store controlled substances?
Not anymore, we can actually take that out.
Perfect.
We do the percent scale.
Yeah, but-
This will be percent, and do we have any fentanyl or morphine? Does it hurt?
I guess we're still carrying that for the advance, huh?
We have,
Yeah.
We only carry percent.
We got a couple intermediates, so we're gonna keep carrying those too.
Okay,
So-
so do they carry those for like seizure precautions or?
That's above my scope.
Joe?
Joe's here. Joe would be
Joe.
the perfect one.
Hey Joe, why are we using Versed?
It's just stored because we have it.
Just-
So it's just stored in the safe.
So should we be disposing of that or something if
Yeah.
we're not using it?
And maybe when it expires.
I
Yeah,
would just wait until it expires, but yeah, that's totally fine too.
Okay.
So soon we won't have those.
well then if we can get rid of those, we can get rid of that
Yeah.
policy, right? Or that
Maybe
part.
because it doesn't hurt to have a policy in there? Yeah, unless we start to bring back fentanyl or. If we bring back the, we could constantly, I guess, but it wouldn't hurt to have it in there, right?
I guess not, I was just trying to avoid a bunch of things that we don't need.
Yeah.
And at this point in time, we don't have a district ambulance, we're not running ambulances, we're not doing those kinds of things, and so that was my rationale for it, but
Yeah.
either way, it's fine with me.
I don't really care.
Yeah.
I think in the future, going forward, once we get ALS providers, we will hopefully next month or two, and it'd be good to keep it going. So.
Would you be keeping them on the fire, on the engines? Okay. Okay,
Yeah, not an ambulance, so.
yeah, and we would have appropriate places to store that and keep it locked up in the engine?
Absolutely, we follow all of the regulations we can get.
Thank you. And I think I only had one more question, and that is, where are we at with vaccination policies with our paid employees and our volunteers? Are they required to have Hep B and all of those types of things?
Yep,
And do we provide them the ability to get those?
yep. We'll offer it to them if they don't have it. We don't have anybody that doesn't have it, and all of our personnel, volunteer and paid, are all vaccinated for COVID-19, fully
Awesome.
vaccinated.
I think that was it. Thank you.
Thank you for saying the page number.
What?
So thank you for saying the page number.
Oh, sure,
Made it easier.
sure. So then, under that, do we need to wait to make those changes then to accept, or can we accept it
You
with
can
those
set,
changes?
if you want to accept it with the changes, then I can still make the changes and, you can.
Well, I would make a motion to accept it then with the changes.
All in favor? So be it. Good. Question, does that include the drug and alcohol policy?
No.
No.
That's a
No,
different
separate.
policy.
the union would like to review that for comparison for a contract for voted on.
I'll send you a copy.
Thank you.
You can have these copies.
I took pictures.
Oh, you want the
Yeah.
hard copies? You can.
Do you have all three of them, Shai?
I have all three of them.
Okay. Certainly, I would appreciate any input that you have as well, Shai.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll review them with Andy Parker and we'll let you know.
And that was all I had.
You're good? All right, well, I think we'll move on to the volunteer report then.
So volunteer report, we participated in a few activities recently. We did of course, the trunk or treat. We handed out, I don't know how many,
298 kids.
198 kids worth of candy. I don't know how much candy that was. It was a lot. We also got rid of a lot of our Frisbees that we've stored around here for quite a long time. We participated, of course, we do our EMS standby for the games, but we had a bunch more people come out for EMS standby for the first round of the playoffs.
Right, that's
So we're
nice,
out
I
there.
like that.
And then we, of course, did the noise parade when they left to go to the last
Right.
game, which was last week.
Right.
And so I was up hunting during that, but I got to see the video of it, and so it was very
Did you
noisy.
get an elk?
No, I didn't get an elk. I got a cold, and I got a broken tarp from the windstorm.
Yeah.
Well, I certainly want to give a big, huge shout out to everyone who volunteered in sending our varsity football team out. That was really super special. We've had a lot of comments about how much that meant to our community and how they thought that was really great. Unfortunately, the boys did lose, but they really appreciated it too. So thank you so much.
Academy is still going. I had a conversation with Captain Helmricks, who's the training officer for Newport this week, and about rebooting another academy, probably late spring, early summer. But, and this is a big but for right now, we're going to look at incorporating, I know that Lieutenant Booker is very interested, and I know that Charlie is very interested in getting the school incorporated in.
Yes.
And so we're going to look at opening up a cadet program
That'd be
again.
great.
We understand the liabilities. We've worked with the liabilities before. We feel like we have enough monitoring that we can manage the liabilities. It's going to be a little bit of conversation with the school. We'd like the school to kind of endorse it by giving the students some work experience credit or some kind of credit for participating, which will help kind of entice them to want to participate besides just wanting to be a firefighter. So we're going to work between Newport High School and Walport High School, trying to build one program together.
That'd be great.
And so,
SDAO does not have an issue with that.
no, they're actually the ones that gave us the guidances of what we can and can't do. So there's not a lot that, we can't let them use any power tools. They're not allowed to climb ladders above 4 feet. They're not allowed to do any kind of IDLH atmosphere type training whatsoever. And those are pretty controllable things. So, like I said, I'm just kind of opening up the conversation starter on it. It's a big but we're really looking at opening up that cadet program and getting that up and running with the school again.
Well, that's been a really big priority for me and something I've had a lot of passion about. I also know that Blake Wisham at Newport is very interested in whatever he can do to help contribute to that. And certainly anything I can do to help support it. I think this would be amazing for our community. Says a lot to grow our own.
Yeah, we may need to get some equipment that identifies them a lot easier on the training ground, so they don't kind of blend in with everybody else. But I don't think there's going to be anything really too egregious for getting this up and going. It's going to be more just communication and planning and working with the school. So,
Thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah, that's much needed, I think.
and that's pretty much it for the volunteer report.
Okay, well, let's go on to the union report then.
Just want to say thanks for putting us back over here in our little corner. Just briefly to touch on the cadet program, that's actually something I had written down
school year. It'll be a conversation with Jeff Skirvin, Amy Skirvin. It'll probably fall into the CTE category of stuff. So like the forestry students are every one of them that I know personally anyway has been extremely interested in wildland firefighting. I know Melissa Simon used to have a program here back in the day that would help get their wildland certification. So basically graduate as a wildland firefighter type 2. So it's just going to be a series of conversations with the principal and the CTE teacher. But I'll certainly keep everybody abreast as to what I come up with on that front. And the only other thing I had from the union was to review the drug and alcohol policy. Just policy changes, we need to make sure that they're in line with the union contract. And then, of course, that'll come up for negotiation in January. So that's, yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
On the front of the wildland firefighting for the students,
Yes.
I always like that idea. Is it something that we could like pretty much go all in on and like hire somebody that would be like a captain that would oversee like a crew of maybe some of these younger kids that when we, so we can send these crews on conflagrations during the summer a lot more. And I know this last summer you were pretty hesitant on sending people out, so if we had resources like that, where obviously if we're sending them out on cruise, the district can make up almost the whole, probably I would guess, at least one wage of a person. that
So we
they cover,
can't,
right?
we can't send them out if they're still in the cadet side of it. And when I say cadet, they're under 18.
Okay, I wondered if that 18 was.
Yeah.
Yeah, 18 is the number. Once they turn 18, then they can start responding and doing things. And they can actually deploy on conflagration alongside our crews just as a normal firefighter type 2 at that point.
But if we could do something where like literally they're on almost as like employees, so that even when they go to school or whatever else, maybe or go to college, they would come back and would still basically be working for the district in theory, quote unquote.
Yeah,
And then they would go on calls,
yeah.
and it would be a source of revenue for the district and also a great thing for these younger
Yeah,
kids to
so-
be able to make a good wage.
The only problem with that is you can't send an 18-year-old out like as an engine boss.
Yeah, that's why I say we have to like hire somebody that would basically go on all these calls with the people,
Yeah,
right?
we have 2 engine bosses, myself and Cody Johnson right now. So in order for us to send an engine out, we'd have to have one of the 2 of us on it. Or we'd have to send an engine out and have somebody from another agency jump on it with our people. So one of the priorities this spring is to get all of our other lieutenants up to the engine boss level. So that way it doesn't strip the fire chief from the district if we want to send an engine out and have it go participate in conflag. I think it's important that we do that. We send people out and help other agencies just as much as if we had a fire here and they sent other agencies here, they'd come and help us here. So it's important that we participate. It's been just trying to get the right level of staffing on the vehicle to be able to do it. These firefighters coming in, when they complete the cadet program and they become full-fledged responders, they can jump on that engine with an engine boss and an operator and go. And there wouldn't be any issues there. They could jump on our engine and participate in our stipend program as long as they meet the minimum requirements for the engine. And be able to actually get the stipend, reimbursement to them and also ride on the engine day to day.
I mean, it's something to think about, I don't know, maybe it's just something I thought would be a killer idea,
That's great.
It's a source of revenue, I like money.
Well, certainly, I think one of the things that, I can hear what you're saying, Kevin. Certainly, I think one of the things that could be a benefit whenever we get this program going is if you're telling those seniors as they're going through it, hey, we'd really like you to sign up on this team. So when this happens, we can call you and you're gonna get paid.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, obviously, I think that would probably be part of the instruction anyways, but we could certainly let them know ahead of time that as you graduate, this is something you could look forward to.
I mean,
To-
chunk of change,
hold the cookie in front.
When you deploy on a conflagration, you actually become a part-time employee with the district.
Yep.
And so you actually there's paperwork we have to do before they leave to sign them on, and it says, this is what you get paid, this is the hours you're expected and everything, to go out and actually do that.
So I'm guessing that wouldn't be a union issue at that point, bringing on them as part-time employees, right?
It used to be automatically the Forest Service, USDA Forest Service, and the State of Oregon Department of Forestry automatically recognized them once they graduate and they're at that 18 mark, a lot of, in my generation, they work summers for the Forest Service or even Department of Forestry, or through the district and whatever, and obviously it's their college money.
Yeah, I have quite a
So-
few friends that
Yeah.
fire every summer. One of them's still now a career guy, so
Yeah.
he's still
Yeah.
in the
Absolutely.
station.
It's actually easier to do it that way. When we deploy, we're in conformance with the Oregon State Fire Marshal's Office.
Gotcha.
And so our personnel have to be certified firefighter ones to be able to go and participate in conflag. Whereas ODF seasonal hires may just be wildland firefighter type twos and engine bosses and task force leaders and just have NWCG certificates for the most part. So
Anyways, I love the idea.
ultimately, we can make it happen,
Mhm.
so.
Can I take it back to the drug and alcohol use policy? Thank you. I've been able to read this through on the one that Monica sent. I think what she has sent is excellent. I don't have any questions on that. I think that all the wording is everything that I would ask
I
for.
can't hear you, I was getting.
Yeah. Shai, do you need to, you want to look at it and then pipe in a little bit later, or do you want us to wait?
No, we're gonna have to wait.
Okay,
So I have to get Andy Parker involved.
okay.
All right, we're about ready for a finance report.
Cash on hand at the end of October, $426,850.98. We're doing okay there. Operating cash, of that, the operating cash was $195,170.20. Building fund owed back to the general account, $54,522.43. And Reed is going to transfer that money tomorrow. And what that is money we pay for everything through the operating account, and then it gets reimbursed back to the general account.
Is that why the public fund, there is that negative 101,000?
Beg your pardon?
Showing a negative 101,000 under.
Well, that has to do with something that the auditor did that they won't fix and they need to fix.
Okay.
And what that is, and partly that and partly, we don't get any money until right about this time. in
Yeah.
November. And so we're using the general funds and then the public funds, the other money rather, is the equipment levy. And so that's money that's being spent for equipment levy purchases. So that number is, I show it as a sub,
I got you.
but the auditor needs to fix the other one, and
Okay.
that's
I noticed that when I was going through it. If you go down far enough, you find out where it drained out and where it came back.
yeah.
And they do need to correct that.
It occurred 3 years ago, and
Okay.
I tried to get him to do it. Anyway, Walport Station House, the pre-work, McKenzie, all McKenzie invoices since March 29, 2021, $60,357.70 accrued for them, their fees. Walport Station House legal fees are $2,700. So together, $63,057.78. Personnel services, year-to-date, $184,377.80. And we budgeted $615,570.19. So we're about 4% under the budget at 29. Legal services, $4,437.90. But we only budgeted $1,216.36. Or excuse me, last year was $1,216.36. So at some point we'll probably have to look at that and maybe move some money. Vehicle repairs, $11,550.34 through the end of October, and we budgeted $20,000, so we're at 48.5%. And then medical supplies is higher this year, $3,675.04, and we budgeted all in all, budget we seem to be staying within the budget. That's all I have.
Any questions or anything, or?
I make a motion to approve the financial report as presented.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
So be it.
Make a motion to pay the bills?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so be it. All right. Well, moving on down to correspondence then.
I don't have any.
Nothing? Okay. Do we have any old business?
I don't think so.
Okay,
Nothing, this is just other notes in my report. So.
right. How about some new business?
I have one new business that is from the Ryan Group. So we had the kickoff meeting on the 9th of this month with them. A lot of information came out of that meeting, and I felt like it would be very prudent for them to talk directly to you about that information, so you're not getting my version of trying to say what they're saying. We can set this up as a Zoom meeting, so you don't have to leave your home if you can do Zoom from home or go to meeting. And they'll basically just give you the same presentation that they give to us, and so that way you're hearing it straight verbatim from them, and I don't misconstrue what they said about something. Are there dates? I look mostly, because you have a very complex schedule, are there dates in early December that you could send me that might work?
Sure, no problem.
And then I can put out, kind of like last time, I can put out a bunch of options, and everybody says this one works best for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
It'll probably
Party
be,
center or something?
yeah, it'll be an evening for probably an hour, Zoom.
Let's do it as a public meeting, and then we can all log into the Zoom, and then allow
Sure.
other people in.
Sure. We just do it as a workshop. There shouldn't be any need to vote on anything or it's just all informational. If you don't have Zoom at home, then of course, come down here and we can set it up in the conference room too. So,
I can tell you right now, I think that first, second, or third would be fine for me.
okay,
No meeting on the second, chamber on the second.
okay. All right. I'll put some emails out tomorrow.
Well, then you got your report, chief?
Yep. So McKinsey Group is in a holding pattern. They're pretty much done with their portion of it at this point, other than going out for the grant. But that's really going to depend on ultimately what you guys decide tonight. So they're just going to wait for that. Ambulance 72. So the rescue has been bought and paid for, and is hopefully on its way to Hillsborough. The Command Tahoe has also been bought and paid for. We're just waiting on confirmation that the checks arrived in Minnesota before we set up shipping of that to go to Hillsborough. So once he gets confirmation of payment received, we'll start moving that apparatus over. They both go to the sign company in Hillsborough. That's where PacWest does all of their vehicle decals. And they get the striping packages and everything put on them for our patterns, and then they come here and we'll just be putting the actual literature on them so that it matches all our fonts, and we don't have to worry about trying to make sure they have the correct fonts and everything like that. My hope is that both vehicles will be in service by the end of the year. So it really is, at this point, I can't give a hard date on that until they show up.
Right.
And so, yep. But hopefully we'll have both those in service.
Good news.
Congratulations.
Yeah, you got good improvement.
Thank you. I really want to say, thank you to Jeff for coming in and helping to make that happen.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff.
Absolutely.
ISO, we're still going to do an announcement. We're actually waiting on 2 uniform shirts to come in so we can have everybody in nice uniforms doing the presentation picture. That's really all we're waiting on. Like I said, it doesn't actually go into effect till February 1st of 22. So we'll get that out there and get that on our Facebook page and our district website as well. It's a big deal, and I'm already going through the evaluation to try to see where we can capture more points for our next evaluation and try to move towards a 3. Definitely no promises there yet, but would like to go to a 3. grant funding, so the National Rescue Relief Act, we handed that over to Ryan, so they're starting to look into that now on our behalf. I already talked about Ryan, the FEMA, the BRIC funds, we also handed that over to Ryan so that they could start looking into that. We're still working with FEMA for hazard mitigation. And again, depending on what comes out of tonight's decision, there's that reconstruction side of that too, but that's only for reconstructing the structure. So, the Oregon Seismic Grant is on hold depending on what decision we go, and that would be provided by McKinsey, either this December or next December. USDA, so I started doing the pre-app, and I wanted to make sure I was doing everything correctly, so I got a hold of the rep for USDA for this area, and found out that USDA's community facilities grant process doesn't have funding right now. So the biggest grant that they could give to us would be a USDA grant for about $55,000. And so, well, I don't want to say that's not helpful. Every little bit helps. That's not quite the size of ticket that we were looking for from them. So they've given us some direction about reaching out and actually talking with our state representative to see if we can try to negotiate some relief funds our way that might help with our funding that USDA is not able to provide us. So, so we did talk with them, but that, of course, we don't need to do the pre-app because the funding's not there. So I took that off of there. Select Charitable, we got our hose grant, but it was limited because of their limited funds. I'm going to reapply and get more funds. That was actually their direction, was just reapply and we'll get you some more. So that's coming in, and that helps with our engine continuity. FEMA staffing, so I put the wrong one on here. It's not the SAFER, it's the AFG, the Assistance to Firefighters Grant. Opened up, and it's open till December 7th. I'm working on the grant application right now, and it's about 60% complete. So it should be done probably next week. But I have to call them tomorrow when I went in to put the, basically the, what would you like to buy question in there. The vehicle acquisition topic came up, but in the list of vehicle acquisition, tender was not in there. So I'm going to call them tomorrow and see if tender is restricted from this year's grants or not. That's what I was targeting, was to replace the tender. So it would have replaced the tender that's at Five Rivers. We would have moved the tender from Tidewater to Five Rivers and then put the new tender at Tidewater. If I can't get a tender, the only other thing on that list that fell under our needs list was a Type 3 brush engine. But if I got it, I'd have nowhere to store it because I don't have a brush engine that I would replace it with. So I'm going to call them tomorrow and see why tender's not listed there, and if I could still do it just under a different topic. So I'll find out that tomorrow. Other than that, the application's going fine. It's just very tedious because it's a federal grant. So. And then our ODF grant that we got for our wildland equipment is completed. I just have to grab the proof of our payments for the equipment from Brett. It's more of a reimbursement program. So we show we bought the equipment, they send us a check and reimbursement.
Good.
So I just got to submit that and we'll get our check. The building appraisal came in. It should be in your guys' books. It's like a 75-page document, so have fun with that. I read through some of it, mostly just the summaries, and so that'll probably come up tonight during the other part. And then I put the list of action items based off of our goal setting workshop on here. So I'll run down really quick. The CERT trailer, I have been talking over the last couple of days with Station 3 Promotional Graphics. I'm just waiting on him to give me the final estimate, and it sounds like he might be the one that's going to end up doing this. So that'll be done actually pretty quick.
Nice.
The Five Rivers water supply is a line item on there for planning and budgeting. So that's just on there for now. The USDA pre-app can come off of there because, like I said, they don't have the funding for their facilities. Jet dock, we got the jet dock quote back for $33,000.
33?
Yep, 33. We have, after paying for the cover, we have 17. I know John's been trying to get a hold of Roxy to find out how much, if anything, was left of the bond and whether or not there could be contribution that way, and then we have it installed and up and running by spring. So it's just right now a matter of the financials.
If there isn't any funding left in the board budget from that, what are your alternative ideas to coming up with that?
Alternatives are grants, obviously, or we would look at our budget, our reserve funds to see if we can come up with the additional 17.
Is there any thought process like doing any sort of fundraising perhaps? I know that it's challenging. I know we haven't done a lot of that per se, but it can be quite successful.
Yeah. What comes up to the top of your mind?
Pancake breakfasts, barbecues, crab feeds.
We would have
There's
to.
top 3.
We would have to rent the equipment for the pancake feed.
Mhm.
I think we've got a couple people already with their food handlers licenses, so we'd be okay there.
If we could get donations for possibly for the actual items, right?
Yep.
You know, the pancake mix, the what have you, the syrups and butters and stuff, that would obviously offset costs.
Yeah.
I know that initially turnout probably would be small because we haven't done anything like this before. But if it's, I mean, we could start somewhere.
Yeah.
I know that there, you know, and you come from a department that did this quite yearly, right?
Yeah, on Mother's Day breakfast.
Yeah, and what was their profit off of those?
Oh, it was about $5-6 grand after everything was paid for.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
exactly.
It's a pretty well-known program. Like you said, it'd probably be small starting out, but once we got it up and running, yeah.
It could be quite a nice little ticket revenue for us, and it's a
Yeah.
great PR and marketing thing with our community.
Yeah, another one that they did back at Jefferson was they hosted bingo,
Mm-hmm.
fire hall bingo, and they did it, I believe it was like 1 or 2 Saturdays a month.
Mm-hmm.
And that generated actually quite a bit of fundraising for the association.
I bet it would.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So those are some ideas, at least if we, you know, and even if the port has the budget for that moving forward, if we could start doing something like that, I think that would be great for the community, the fire department. It would be a win-win situation.
Yeah, I think we could look into what would be a good day, especially if we wanted to make it something that happens annually.
Yes.
Trying to find something to tie to. Mother's Day breakfast for them always worked out really well.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we could find something maybe a little sooner.
Mm-hmm.
So,
All
yeah,
right, thank you.
yeah, definitely. Engine equipment continuity list. We're actually most of the way there. We've already got the lists up and running. It's going to be budgeting to buy the equipment to make sure that they're all the same. And part of that's that hose grant as well. So. Safer grant's still not open yet. AFG is open, so that's 60% underway. And then rope rescue operations, I'll be buying the curriculum hopefully tomorrow and to get that up and running. And so we'll probably be ahead on that one as well. So, and that's all I got for my report.
Well, nice work, and I really appreciate all the time you put in those grants. I know how tedious and awful they can be.
It's the, you know, doing all the narratives and
Yeah.
things, or that's the part that takes, you know, filling in the blanks of how much is your population, what's the area, square mileage area, you know, those are easy fill in the blanks. It's when you got to write the actual story of why you
gotta
deserve
sell
the money.
yourself.
Yeah, that's where it gets interesting.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, do you have any questions from the citizens or viewing audience?
Don't have anything from the viewing people.
Good there, then? Okay, well, I guess we're gonna move into executive session then, huh?
Is there something he has to read?
Yeah, just read the ORS real quick.
We're adjourning into executive session.
then you log out and clear your history so you can find it.
Yes, yeah, right.
Right?